future of gaming, Metaverse, blockchain, social. Moderated by Mike Prasad.
What's up, everyone? Mike Prasad back again. Hey. And we're gonna, good to see you. Hey, how are you? Scheduling is always a challenge. So we're gonna be talking about gaming, the metaverse, and social, and all the good stuff. But before we get started, let's get intros from all of our esteemed guests.
Do you want me to start?
Let's go.
There you go. Hello, everyone. My name is Matteo Gamberale. I am Italian, as you can hear from my name.
And see.
You can see. So, we're developing an application. I've always been a startup in my entire life. I started more than 10 companies and co-founded more than 10 companies, all in the tech industry and in the Gen Z-oriented industry. And right now we're developing an application for Gen Z called Zappy. And it will be basically a data monetization app for Gen Z. So they can sell their data for a profit to their favorite brands. They can play mini games. It's basically an earning ecosystem. They can watch video ads from their favorite brands and so on. So we're Gen Z oriented and gaming oriented because it feels like a game. It's not a game, but it feels very much like a game, and it's going to have a lot of mini games inside. So that's why I'm here.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Ciobanu. I'm from Romania, not Italy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bugsy World Society. Basically, this is an entertainment metaverse. Let's say, like, we are trying to build and bring Las Vegas in the metaverse with a tiny twist, the fact that players will be able to do whatever they want in the metaverse within the legal boundaries, of course, as we heard before, but they will be able to play on physical machines. So basically we are at the borderline between digital and physical, and absolutely all the experiences that will be available in our metaverse will be based on real existing machines or games or devices that are somewhere else in the world. That's it.
Thank you. Hello all. Nice to meet you. I'm Artem from Czech Republic. I'm co-founder and smart contract developer at BlockCzech R&D Lab. That is consulting and development agency for gaming companies, and we help gaming companies to build their metaverses, play-to-earn games in terms of smart contracts and web platforms. So we outsource any blockchain-related stuff. Thank you.
I'm Mike Prasad. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Every Creator. We create the community platform and monetization and management for communities in Web3. And so the title of this talk is The Future of Gaming, Metaverse, Blockchain, Social. There's so many ways we can go with this. We have actual gaming environments, we have iGaming, and we have the underlying infrastructure. So let's start with infrastructure. So regardless of your application of Web3 and within gaming, before you can build the interactive environment, whether it's physical or virtual, you still need to build the underlying infrastructure, the blockchain technology to enable that. And so what are some challenges and what are some of the protocols or tool sets that you see being developed to create these integrated environments for these new experiences?
If you are talking about technology side, what are using for building metaverses and play-to-earn games, so we can talk about different blockchains that support smart contract development, like EVM-compatible blockchains, Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, and also new kind of blockchains like Solana, Near, and Ton blockchain, for example. And what it's provide for existing businesses, existing gaming companies, is ready-made economy and market for their digital assets. The same already years in using by Valve. So they use Counter-Strike and Team Fortress, and they have like in-game economy build, but it's centralized and it's only accessible for Valve, for example, now. But through the blockchain and blockchain platforms, we can provide that market or access to that market for classic gaming companies and iGaming.
And so on these existing chains, you're able to have the interoperability, you're able to have potential liquidity. And so what we're seeing, I think, in the space, you're seeing the different companies providing solutions around the liquidity pooling, the matchmaking, the odds making, and the judgment of the release, the validation of outcomes in the iGaming space. And so have you seen any particular technologies that are providing those infrastructure level necessities specifically for iGaming? What are some of the things that you've seen built?
I think there are not like general solutions. It's like iGaming and blockchain integration kind of early stage market, and I think there is possibilities to cover that market and start to play in that game. So there are a lot of possibilities.
Very interesting. And then on the gaming side, on the more of the traditional gaming side, are you seeing any kind of what protocols are you building on? What are the things that you're building your consumer level experience on top of?
Well, that is a great question. Actually, we're in the process right now of choosing our blockchain. So the blockchain where we're actually going to develop on. And we found out that basically all blockchains can be suitable for us. And the biggest challenge that we are actually facing is the fact that we are going to integrate a lot of games, right? We're going to create our own mini games, and we're going to integrate a lot of other games. So we're actually right now in a process where there's a lot of mini games that come from different blockchains that want to integrate into Zappy, and we're looking for a protocol that will allow us to do that, right? So I think it's something like that. It's currently missing, or it's in the development somewhere, but we don't know about it yet. So that's definitely something that we should think about.
Maybe I can add. So basically about the best blockchain for the gaming companies. I think the best way is going through the multi-chain approach. So in that way we receive the accept to each market. Basically it is the same like we have dollar users, we have euro users and other currency, the same stuff with the blockchain. And if we provide our players to possibilities to pay or use NFTs on any chain they familiar, we as a business just make more money.
So
one more question, one more comments about the multi-chain protocol. I think you can take a look Tonana bridge and connectors, and that provide possibilities.
Yeah, we've been talking to them actually. So the only thing that we're a little skeptical about is the fact that we're looking for mass adoption, right? So we're not targeting a Web3. Like very skilled kind of user base, and the fact that they're Gen Z is not helping, right? on that matter. So we're trying to find the best protocol that will allow us to make the user feel like they're not on blockchain, right? So that's the only thing that's probably missing, but we're getting it. We feel like we're getting there. So
that brings up a question, right? Depending on the chain you build on, you're sort of creating a siloed community gated by that protocol. So I definitely agree that omni-chain, multi-chain is definitely the right angle for any business that's consumer-facing. In regards to gambling as well, you want to make bets with multiple currencies. You don't want to be restricted. Interoperability between specifically the transfer of value or betting across chains, or in the case of user experience, the preservation, the persistence of the user's profile, their experience, and any earned things out of that environment. How are you solving for that in terms of making sure that the user coming in can say, I can do this, I can, whatever I happen to have, I can try and come in? Is that through, do you see that as part of for both of your businesses, is that something that you see that you're going to start with a single chain and add more support, and to say when you would add currency support? Or do you see it as more of you're looking for a solution that enables you to focus on the experience and less so on the intake?
So basically, we have a more, let's say, philosophical approach, where though we think before we are doing something, what exactly the blockchain we are going to use it for. And basically, in our world, blockchain we are using it just to prove the ownership of all the NFTs that are being traded inside our universe. Whatever funds and everything that will be exploited in the Bugsy, that will be used our internal own coin. So basically, we are very simple, and we want to facilitate and to make sure that the experience that is being delivered to the player once it's in our metaverse, it's at the maximum possible. And that experience is not only the graphical side or whatever. It's about what actually that person can do. Because today all the metaverses is about graphics. You know, the only battle in between is just how much money you have to make a better graphic or something like that. We found a different angle, and we want to go on physical machines because nobody is there. We are still human beings, and we are still bound to physical stuff. We're not downloaded directly on the universe and the metaverse, so we still want to have the feeling of touching something. Now, we give you the possibility of touching gaming and gambling and also gaming devices, and that will be a unique experience because in some parts of the world, the only way to see those devices is to go to a museum. And you have to pay real money to see those devices in the museum. I'm telling you, well, we can come and use them physically. So that the price of the experience of that translates the concept of blockchain. So we just use it as a support for whatever we want to develop.
I mean, we're actually having a similar approach. The thing is, blockchain for us, for example, is being used as a tool, right? So we're not talking about the ethical aspect or, even if it's important, of course, but being a mass adoption application, we need to be, to make blockchain feel like it's very simple for them, right? We're talking about Gen Z and we're talking about blockchain. So, the first approach, I think it's the UX has to be, the simplest as possible, right? As simple as possible, and as as we're doing that, we're also adding an education component to it, right? So we're making it very simple, but we're explaining them what they're doing, basically. So we're using the technical aspect of technology, the benefit that come from that, and then we're educating them in the process.
And so it sounds like the current state of blockchain when it comes to gaming experiences is that you as the end user environment are trying to create a simplistic or simple, accessible, low friction entry point to then get them into your environment. You're using your entry point from the different chains and as a sort of a addressable audience, but you also don't want to be limited by it in a way that you want someone who knows nothing about blockchain but cares about your experience to come in. And so ultimately what we're saying is that the infrastructure is there around, let's call it the basic plumbing, but the bridge between the plumbing and a ready-made house to walk into, that environment, that accessibility, that frictionless experience is not quite there yet, and there needs to be tools to do that. And so right now, you're struggling with finding the solutions to let you focus on your business, but also make the entry point accessible and easy.
Correct.
So I don't know if you haven't seen Magic Links. Might be a good way to let someone provision with an email. So let's assume that in the near future, the solutions to onboard a user across popular blockchain protocols, currencies, etc., to capture the value into your environment is solved for. You can plug into it like an API and you're good to go. So now you're focused on bringing the user into essentially a siloed metaverse experience, which your environment, your games, your functionality, your currencies, or your tokens, and giving them interaction. In this case, played earnings and betting. When that value is created, you mentioned that there's some value in the experience in trying these in planning it or trying the older museum machines. So there's a value given in that utility, in the access to that experience, recreating experience. What are the other types of value that are created that's non-speculative, that's non-input, not brought into your environment, but created by the user or created as part of interaction in your environment? What are some other core values and utility created?
Well, basically our entire ecosystem is built on creating a universe for people to be able to trade and create digital experiences. The number of tokens is limited in our universe, so basically we are trying to create this environment where we have 77,777 creators which can actually develop their own business and their own activity in there. The value that we are going to create to be the emporium of digital experiences, it will be massive, because at the end of the day, we are here at a gaming expo, right? People play. Why do people play? What is the psychological factor that drives people to play? It's a certain kind of experience, a certain kind of thrill that people have. There is the same kind of experience which apply on gaming. The only difference is money. So in our metaverse, we are trying to create this wide range of experiences which can fulfill a certain dream that a certain person can have a different moment in his life. Today, in the morning, maybe you want to do something, but in the evening you want to do something else. You'll always be bound between digital and real. We are in a transition period. So we are just spotting this very precise line between digital and physical, where people can trade and create these digital experiences as much as possible. And that being having a limited number of tokens, distributed among an increasing number of people, and increasing number of liquidity that will be generated by each business, it will create a certain kind of non-classical speculative pressure, but just a normal economical pressure.
So essentially, you're allowing your initial holders to have sort of a key to create experiences that then they can monetize within your environment.
That's
and
exactly.
so you're creating that sort of an experiential building environment, and then you as the infrastructure provider, the toolkit provider, will benefit from those interactions.
And that's basically, in wherever area we go, we are just trying to elevate a little bit the way things are being done. In gaming and gambling, we are based on our patent, which is remote play, and then we take that further with shopping, with the way you consume a box fight, or the way you consume something else. We have a lineup of patents that are coming up that will actually take this kind of experience to a whole new level.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree with him. I mean, the experience is everything, right? For example, I'm talking about Zappy, of course. We're talking about a game, but it's not a game, right? So, but it has to feel like. So when young users approach our app, they feel like they're playing, but they're not playing. They're selling their data, and we're teaching them how to, and we're educating them. We're creating this awareness in them to actually make them realize what they're doing. But they feel like they're playing, and they're earning while playing, but they're actually selling their data. So the experience is crucial. So we're partnering with one of the best gamification experts in the world for doing that. And the reason for this is simple. Without this kind of experience, you couldn't have the same results, right?
Well, it's the same thing you see in traditional gambling, where you're like chasing behavior. You're creating the triggers to get someone to continue to engage. You see it with social media and feed aggregation and whatnot. So in these environments, so in one case it's experiential. You're giving the toolkits to create experiences and monetize that. In this case, you're helping them learn, educate, and then also earn around that process of growth. You're both giving opportunities to your users to create value in a virtual environment, and then theoretically that value can be scaled out through the infrastructure that you've created. Now, that scaling out of value initially happens in your closed environment. So you brought some resources in, you brought the person in, they've created a value of work within your space, and now you have a stored value within your token and your metaverse. Can that value be transferred externally? How does that work? And how does that balance out the interaction between the digital environment and the utility and the value in the real world?
Okay, so the center of our UX, the center of our user experience is the avatar. So we're gonna have an avatar system in collaboration with regulators.me, and this avatar is very, very important for us because it will have NFT accessories. So every single accessory will be an NFT. So users can buy our NFTs, they can buy brands NFTs, or they can create their own. So we're gonna have an editor in the app where they can create their own accessories. And what they can do with that avatar, they can export it. So interoperability is very, very important for us. So, the status of having a Gucci bag that right now is offline, of course, it will be online. And once they they buy the Gucci bag and they want to export the avatar in over the 600 metaverses of it, ReadyPlayer.me, or on WhatsApp, on Telegram, they can do that. And that's where you actually export the value that you created in the app, and also you can sell your collection, right? So they can create their collection, they can sell their collection, not only in our marketplace, but in secondary marketplaces. So they can also profit outside the app.
That's a very, very, very good question. We have a more, let's say, enterprise approach, where the value that is being created per se in the metaverse will not be exported as an NFT or something like that to somewhere else. We have an approach where, though, you have the environment where you can actually test somewhere in the digital world something that you want to make in the physical world, or the other way around. There is something in the physical world that you want to make it available for the digital world. Why? Because there is at this moment a big, let's say, fight, or the big convergence between the gaming and gambling, physical and digital. So you need a bridge between these two worlds. How you actually are going to let's say, promote a physical casino that you're going to make somewhere. We'll give you the possibility to create that physical casino digitally in the metaverse. And you're going to get the first layer, the first level of feedback from users, and then you can see if there is something that you can change or something else. Or the other way around, you see something beautiful in the metaverse, and how cool it and how crazy it will be to meet it in real life. So this part of enterprise services we see as our gateway that we offer to our users to create this bridge between those two worlds. Because at the end of the day, as I said before, we also live on this city and we eat and we do stuff. We don't only take bites and we download ourselves every day.
Well, so that brings actually, I think, a great question I have about the bridging, right?
Yeah.
So what are some areas? So clearly, like, we have these companies building really engaging, interactive value creation within their environments, but also in the intake, and also on the bridging. There's some problems that have to be solved for. So any thoughts on that, and maybe approaches or things you've seen?
Okay, so I go deeper into the technical details for a second. So imagine that we have a game company that have their game infrastructure and their own Ethereum compatible blockchains for their NFTs and tokens. So how we can provide user possibilities to go from that closed ecosystem to the OpenSea and sell their NFTs on Ethereum. So for that needs we are going to build, or we need to build bridges or using existing solution. And typically it works like we have a set of decentralized oracles that are looking for different blockchains and checking that action on the some smart contracts. And for example, in case of transferring NFTs, we have original blockchain, we have a NFT locker smart contract that received NFT and lock it. Our bridge ecosystem looking for that lock NFTs and could mint the basically wrapped assets on any chain and trade it as original one. And after that, then we have a new owners on one of the blockchains. That owner could go to the bridge ecosystem or bridge portal and just unwrap the original token on the original blockchain. So this is the way how we can transfer value from closed ecosystem to the open databases.
Well, that's interesting, because you're essentially taking not only the earned value as a abstracted store of value, but also the utility that was created and allowing that to be transferred. And I think that's interoperability in Metaverse. I think is a massive requirement for Metaverse's adoption and expansion, in specifically in gaming environments, because otherwise it becomes siloed. In the same way that you see in iGaming today, where you have the same operators using the same software in their own environment, and they're not benefiting. So they're basically all competing against the same market with similar technologies and no benefits of the market dynamics.
Yeah, I think it will be a big challenge to make sure that this interoperability works, and because it have to be perceived from all sides. It's not only only the advantages that I have owning, but also from the ecosystem point of view to have a certain advantage allowing this thing to happen. However, I think just in 5 minutes with this panel, your bridging and your approach of understanding the bridge between physical and digital got so many angles from operational business and the technical side that can give you a very complete image of what actually it means today to create a bridge between two things. It's really impressive, and it's fantastic for having us here with these questions.
I think we're not that far, right? I mean, we're not that far from this kind of interoperability. We're already seeing a lot of protocols that are actually doing that, and they're getting better and better every single day, right? So I think and I hope we're not that far.
There's not a question of technical stuff, it's a question of business stuff, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you won't allow it, and you have a good enough reason to allow other people to come to your metaverse. You have good enough reasons to allow to go outside because you create a consumption in your metaverse, but to come in, it's a question of balance you'll have to analyze.
And I agree. And I think, in my opinion, the crash of the market was a good thing. Fundamentally because most of the protocols, most of the tokens initially in the ICO market was based on promises to create an idea with no actual functionality or value beyond speculative value, and most of them did not deliver on that. And so we resorted to sort of the simplest implementation of blockchain, which has been transferable speculation because it opens up liquidity and it has ownership. That's a basic use case. But the idea that as we've matured, we've seen some of those protocols develop into more robust systems, provide real value, like a Filecoin, you look at like dark blocks, stuff like that. Now it's up to the entrepreneurs to take that functionality, implement it into a usable business that has that real world utility, and it creates that new value. And I think that we're trying to see more of that now because that's what it takes to survive in this new environment.
As I mentioned before, I think there are two important things. One is to make sure that technically it's possible and you can do it. And we have seen so many projects that they mention that they can do a lot of technical stuff. And the second thing that has to come along with the technical functionality, it's applicability. Because if you do something which is technically possible but doesn't serve anything, it doesn't have a proper business scope, then the thing it's dead. So
you need a business model.
Yes, if you don't have a functioning business model, then you can develop. But at the end of the day, money burnt.
So we're out of time. I wanted to say one last quick thought from each person, and then some prediction for the future of gaming.
Well, I just wanted to say something related to what I just said, to be honest. So, and what you said. So, regarding the fact that the crash of the market helped, right? Not only in this kind of protocols, but in any kind of protocols, right? Play to earn, blockchain, everything that is Web3 related was, the entire ecosystem was helped by this crash, and the reason for that. I always remember this speaker at NFT NYC, what it was, and he said, who survives the bear market becomes a blue chip. And I was like, what? But then he explained that, the projects that are surviving now, they were building now, they're using this bear market to build, are most likely going to be successful. And the reason for that is simple. This kind of market is making sure that the project delivers, the projects deliver what that they promise, right?
Well, sustainable value.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
All right, quick predictions, then we gotta wrap.
Okay, so can I? Yeah. So I think that blockchain gaming NFTs will expand, because its existing business model with in gaming selling content like Valve use for CSGO or Teamforce, like existing games. And I think blockchain infrastructure provide the same possibility for existing market for companies that just going into that space. And they receive from the start liquidity, users, and basically communities.
So. If you want to see the future, we have to understand a little bit the past. In gaming, just let me tell you, the first dice was ever discovered 5,000 years ago. First slot machine was made 127 years ago, and we are still gambling. What's going to happen in the future? We have to understand what are the driving forces that are shaping the ecosystem. And the driving forces are very simple. First of all, we assist now at the decomposition of the games. Basically, 100 years ago, there was a unique relationship between the player and the game. They were face-to-face. Because of technology, we see now this decomposition, and we see the game can happen anywhere else, and the players can be around the planet. And now the second phase of the technology is that we bring the technology, the medium which is supplying the information about the game, getting closer to our eyes. I followed the Moore's law, if you know about it, for the last 25 years, and the technology capacity has doubled. Number of transistors per microchip doubled, and the price halved every 2 years. What that actually means? It means that the technology is getting smaller, more powerful, faster, cheaper, and with a smaller weight. That means definitely the devices that are bringing the consumption of the game closer to our body, to our eyes, or whatever other way of playing, it's something that is happening. It's something that is getting cheaper, definitely because the technology is moving and the mass adoption is coming. And then basically the games tend to be more and more social. That means because of technology, we can play with people wherever they are in the world. So I do see Metaverse as the place where all these driving forces are happening properly. I do see blockchain as the foundation of this one because it requires and it brings the most essential thing in gaming, and that is trust. And I see innovation to continue to come with new games and new things that are going to happen in the Metaverse based on blockchain. Hopefully Bugsy too.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'll close with saying the future of gaming is the fact that gaming is focused on creating value through experiences, and Web3 technologies enable the storage, transferability, portability, and function of that value to be universal and accessible. And that is why I believe the future of gaming is built on blockchain. So thank you all for a great talk.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.